Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video, which is actually crazy highly requested. We are doing a foundation battle, I suppose you could say. So basically what we're going to do is take a bunch of really popular foundations and we're going to be comparing them side by side on my face to see which one outperforms the other. Now obviously, just like all of my foundation reviews, I'm going to wear these foundations all day long and show you what they look like after 10 to 12 hours of wear. So I thought we'd start out this series by testing my two favorite foundations. Why not? So we've got the Estee Lauder Double Wear and the L'Oreal Pro Matte Foundation. I love both of these for my oily skin type. I think the coverage is fantastic, the finish is great, the wear time is great. Love that they both keep my face matte, and it's going to be interesting to see how they go side by side on my face. So if you're interested in seeing these foundations fight it out, then keep on watching. Now I have already primed my skin using the NYX Angel Veil Primer. I know heaps of you have been asking, do I think it's a good dupe for the Hourglass Mineral Veil? I'm still testing it, so watch this space. Alright, so this is how we're going to do it. L'Oreal on this side, Estee Lauder on this side, and I'm going to put them down that way so that I don't forget. We're going to start out with the Estee Lauder foundation. I'm going to be applying both with a beauty blender because it's my favorite way to apply these products. For shade reference, I am 3W Tawny in the Estee Lauder and 106 in the L'Oreal. Now as you can see, the Estee Lauder is quite a full coverage product. I don't find any difficulty blending this one. It does dry down, but it doesn't dry down, like immediately like a lot of foundations that are long wearing, like say the Revlon Color Stay, for example. I don't find that it dries down nearly as fast as that. I think that they carry a pretty good shade range. I think that the shade range is better than what the L'Oreal line offers. Although I have had a lot of people saying that there aren't enough shades for lighter skin tones. Now I do believe that Estee Lauder is working on that and that they're releasing a bunch of new shades. Okay, so here is that one applied. I would say it's medium to full coverage. It's a demi matte finish. It does dry down. And Estee Lauder are also saying that their newer formulas are made for 24-hour wear. So they've introduced that claim. I need to find out more about whether they've actually reformulated the original one, but I do know that they are saying now that it is a 24-hour wear foundation. I will do close-ups of the skin, but I'll put both foundations on so we can get a really good comparison first. So we're going to go in with the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Foundation. In Australia, this is marketed as the 24-hour matte foundation. It's exactly the same thing, just different packaging. I do actually think that this shade of the L'Oreal is a little bit more yellow than my Estee Lauder, so we'll see what it looks like when it's next to each other. I probably just look like crazy, like one half of my face, like one color. I do actually think, looking at them both side by side now, that the L'Oreal one might be slightly higher in coverage, which is interesting. And these are the kinds of things that you don't notice until you put the two products side by side, because I feel like I'm having to use perhaps a little less of this one to get, my sort of desired level of coverage, which let's be real, is full. I like to be beat. Cover up everything. Cover up my soul. Just cover it. All right, so that is that one there. I think that both sides, the color looks fairly well even. Let's zoom in and have a closer look. All right, so here is the Estee Lauder on this side of my face. I think my pores look pretty well minimized. It doesn't look cakey or heavy. One thing that I do really love about the Estee Lauder Double Wear is that you can really sheer it out for days when you're wanting to go with more of like a natural kind of finish. I just sort of mix it with a bit of primer and apply it that way. But yeah, that is what it's looking like, and it's completely set down. But as you can see, it's not like a heavy mask kind of finish. There's still a little bit of luminosity and life to the skin. So this here is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte. I do think that this one's a little bit more yellow in shade, and I'm also really surprised that I found that this one was actually higher coverage than the Estee Lauder. I thought it was the other way around. Again, my pores look really nice and minimized. It doesn't look cakey or heavy. I think it looks quite fresh despite it being so full coverage. I think at this point of the game they look pretty near identical, to be honest. I can't see a huge difference in both sides of the face. It'll be interesting to see how they go wearing throughout the day and to see the differences in the two formulas. So what I'm going to do now is go and apply the rest of my makeup, and I'll be right back. All right, so I've got the rest of my makeup on now. I will link in the description bar what products I use for the rest of my face. At this point, I would say that both sides of my face look exactly the same. The only thing that I have noticed is that there is more cakiness around my nose here. I don't know if you can see it in comparison to the Estee Lauder side, but there's no creasing anywhere else. It hasn't settled in my fine lines, hasn't settled in my pores. Both have sort of a demi matte finish. The colors look exactly the same. Like everything looks, pretty well exactly the same. So what I will do, I will check in probably in about 6 hours, and then again later on tonight before I take my makeup off, and we'll do a comparison side by side at each point to see how each foundation is traveling. So yeah, I will talk to you guys in about 6 hours. All right, so we are officially 6 hours into this little experiment today. Looking at the mirror just in front of me now, I'm noticing two things about my face. First thing is I'm pretty well completely matte. So obviously we know both of these foundations are some of my favorites for keeping oil production at bay and for stopping the skin getting, really greasy and oily. I'm noticing that on the L'Oreal side, it's sort of starting to settle into my pores. There's some caking going on around the side of my mouth here and also just on the side of my nose. It's nothing, sort of too over the top crazy or super noticeable. Neither side has oxidized, or if they have, they've both oxidized together and I can't tell the difference at all. As far as both sides of the face go, I think, other than the enlarged pores here and the caking, they look pretty well exactly the same. So yeah, not really too much to share just yet. I'll check back in again in about another 5 or 6 hours when I'm ready to take my makeup off for the day, and we'll see if there's a difference. All right, so we are back with our final check-in now, guys. Honestly, these foundations come very, very, very close to being nearly exactly comparable. The only thing is the L'Oreal side is quite a bit more oily than the Estee Lauder side. I'll zoom you guys right up close so that you can see. All right, so here is the L'Oreal side. Now, obviously it's not like crazy oily. I've reviewed and spoken about this foundation plenty of times before. I adore this foundation for oily skin. It lasts really, really well, especially for a drugstore foundation. But if you look at this side, the side of my nose, under my eye here, on my chin, above my lip, on my forehead, like it is quite dewy. But then you look over here at the Estee Lauder side and it's pretty well completely matte. I do think that there's a little bit more sinking into the pores on the side of my nose on the Estee Lauder side, but at the same time, the L'Oreal side has sunk much more into my enlarged pores on my cheek area here. There is quite a bit of caking on the L'Oreal side too, just there sort of around my nose. But yeah, L'Oreal, Estee Lauder. They're very, very close, very comparable in coverage. And this is 12 hours of where you seriously cannot complain about either too much, especially on such an oily skin type. I do have quite an oily skin type. But yeah, I'm going to have to say, as far as oil production and control goes and overall finish, I think that the Estee Lauder is the winner. So like I said, overall Estee Lauder is definitely the winner for me personally, although I do think that this L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte is a crazy close dupe of the Estee Lauder. Like if you're not wanting to invest, and as far as investing goes, I don't particularly think Estee Lauder is all that pricey, especially if you compare it to Chanel, Dior, like all that kind of stuff. It's reasonably well priced, but if you were wanting a much more affordable dupe, then definitely try out the L'Oreal. They're both demi-matte finishes, medium to full coverage, 24-hour wear, like everything I personally want in a foundation, you will find in both of these, but after 12 hours of wear, I do think that the Estee Lauder held up better. So I hope you found today's video really helpful, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on which foundation you preferred, and also let me know which foundations you want to see battle it out next. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you all in my next video. Bye!